not at the point like towards the screen.
Okay.
Okay, so this one's actually, I like 8 a lot.
Alina!
8, Jesus
I was
says
like,
the greatest, Jesus says the greatest among you will be your servant. How does that flip the social media definition of success?
Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to our breakout session. We're going to be talking about finances. We titled our little conversation today, The Success Scam. And what we really want to talk about is the modern definition of success. It's very material driven, and we're surrounded by it on social media, right? We get images of other people's nice cars and clothes and vacations. And hey guys, let's keep it quiet. And it looks like everybody else might have what you don't have. So we want to talk about that, but we also want to talk about the practical elements of being successful financially, how to think about what that is, even that word is loaded. But I want to make sure we talk about it biblically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the brothers questions one at a time. They'll each have, let's say, 2 minutes to answer a question. I have some questions that are more principled, more biblical, and some, let's call them spicy questions, just to kind of go back and forth. But before we can start, we really should define success. So Jacob, this one is for you. Or actually, let's start with introductions. How about that? How about each panelist gives us a 1 minute, 30 second, or maybe 30-second introduction, who you are, and just share what you want to share about yourself.
Oh, okay. So my name is Jacob Grigoriev. I serve here at the local church. I work with the youth, the finance department, involved in other aspects of ministry. What else do I want to say? I have lived in 3 major cities, New York City, Atlanta, Charlotte, and I'm married and I have 4 children.
Professionally, what do you do?
Oh, professionally, I work at a bank.
What's your title?
I am a funding manager.
Let's not go there.
They're asking me.
Guy, you don't want to ask him what he does. You want to understand it. He doesn't know how to explain it. He doesn't know what he does.
Thank you.
They're brothers, by the way, so that's why he can talk like that about him. My name is Roman. Thanks, guys. A lot of you guys probably follow me on Instagram. Dude, it's Roman.
Do they?
A lot of you. We're almost at 10,000. Thanks to I have a great assistant, and she does a great job at making sure we get a lot of followers. I sell real estate. I've been selling real estate in Charlotte for about 5-6 years now. We focus on commercial real estate. We are very, very blessed beyond measure. We don't deserve the blessings that we have, but we still are blessed. I'm married. I've been married for about. I've been married for 7 years now. Yeah,
You weren't very
I've been married
confident.
for less than 10 years. My oldest kid is 6 years old, and we had him 1 year after I got married, so we've been married for 7 years. I got married very young, probably similar to what you guys are at, around 20 years old. My wife was a little bit older, 21. Or I was 21 and she was 22, I can't remember. Yeah, that's me.
Hey everyone, my name is Vladimir. I'm from Georgia, Metro Atlanta area. Serve as one of the pastors in our church. I'm married. I have 4 kids, number 5 on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Professionally, I'm a financial advisor. We have a kind of wealth management financial planning firm, as well as kind of do some business ventures on the side, but that's about it.
Great, and I'm the moderator, and I don't matter. So let's start with the first question. I want us to define success biblically. That goes to Jacob.
Okay, so how do we define success? It's very easy to think of success as something that you own, something that you can merit yourself to, right? Or compare yourself against someone else. Biblical success isn't like that. Biblical success is really understanding the will of God and making sure that you are living by the will of God. In the Bible, we read that Christ says to first seek the kingdom of God. Everything else is secondary. Christ also says that his desires for us to know God. So success biblically is having a deep and strong dependence on God and a desire to commune with God on a daily basis. When you see that you have an unshakable, unbreakable bond with God, that's success. Like, you need to have your prayer. You need to have your time with God. You need to have fellowship with saints. That is success. That's what pulls you. That's what you want. Anybody else can add on to it?
I think peace is a big part of that. You know, when you're at peace with what you have, with who you are, and what you're doing, I think that's a long way to get into success.
Great. Yeah, and a good verse that goes along with that is seek first the kingdom of God. That's right on point. Let's go to Roman next. What is the biggest financial mistake you see young people make?
Someone said motorcycles. It's probably one of them. So me being in real estate, I try to push everybody toward buying real estate. But Vlad here is more into stocks. But I'm going to give him some pointers here because I think the biggest financial mistake young people make, even before we get into stocks, what I see a lot of young people make that I also made was when I started, I don't like to say I'm successful, but when God started blessing me more and more, and people asked me, "Hey, what are you doing that's different? Why does it work? Why does it seem like it's working out for you?" And I would always say, "Oh, it's because I work super long hours. I do this. I'm at the office super early. I stay super late. I do a lot of cold calling. We send a lot of mail." And I would just come up with a list of all these things that I do that I think sound good and make me look good. And the biggest mistake I made was I never said it was because I was blessed. And if you guys are all young, a lot of you are going to be entrepreneurs. A lot of you will be very successful. If you start off when you're just starting and you give all glory to God for every single deal that you do, every check that you get, and when someone asks, why are you blessed, you have to give the glory back to God. It took me a couple of years. I don't know why, but in my head, for some reason, I thought that if I said, it's because of God, God gave this to me, it would make me look like less of a hard worker. But that's not true. You have to give the glory back to God. I think that's the number one mistake that I made early in my career. The second mistake I see people make is that they wait too long to start investing. I'll let Vlad jump deeper into how compound investing works, but the power of compound investing, the power of starting early, $50 a week, $50 a month, whatever it is, it's so powerful.
I'll add a few thoughts. I think the first thing that people do wrong is before they can even start investing or saving is they live outside of their means. It doesn't matter if you're making, I started my first job was $5 an hour. I don't know, anybody make $5 these days? No? I thought
sometimes less.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter how much you make. I have clients that make $600,000 a year and they're broke as a joke. Literally, they have maybe $50,000 to their name, and they make over $500,000 a year. It does not matter how much you make if you do not learn how to live within your means. And that's young person gets their first job, clothes, car, maybe car payment, maybe even lease in the worst case scenario, and just off the bat, starting behind by not being able to live within your means from day one. And then the more money you make, the more money you want to spend, and it just gets harder and harder and harder.
The only thing I'll add to that, is I've noticed oftentimes young people don't budget, and that goes in context with what Vlad said. To understand if you're living within your means, you have to know how much you're making and how much you're spending. You have to track your spending. You absolutely have to be very, very diligent in making sure you're not going over budget. And if you do, you find a way to cut back elsewhere or cut your next month so that you can get back on track. It sounds like that's an overkill, but that is how you make sure that you're not going above what you're making. And there's obviously even a cushion above that you have to hold so that you have some savings as well.
So those are all good answers. I was looking for auto loans. Okay, next question. This one is for Vlad. We often hear in a Christian context to not focus on the material, but do we live what we preach? Are there too many loaded pastors?
Good question. Everyone knows the parable in the Bible about talents? Yeah? A lot of times I think we think that's spiritual. God gives these spiritual talents, preacher, missionary, singer, and we only focus it in terms of spiritual. When it's talking about talents, it's talents. It could be people skills, it could be managerial skills, it could be voice, it could be other things. And I believe, I'm not talking about myself, I'm excluding myself from this, but most pastors I know are very talented people. And in our culture where we make the pastor work and put in, his 40 hours a week and then some, pastors do it, and a lot of them do it very well. And if those pastors dedicated, all of their talents and time to it, I think they would be very wealthy people. And I think there's a way to combat that. One is, we should be more and more willing to have our pastors on full time. Therefore, maybe they would be just as wealthy as we would allow them to be by what we pay them. And I don't think we should pay them minimum wages. But they would use those talents more for the church. But because pastors are required to work, I think they're going to work, and they're going to do probably do a good job at it and do well for themselves. And that's just the way I see people putting those talents that God gave them there because they have to support their families. But on the other hand, I do think that we live in a time of abundance, and I don't think that it's always going to be this way.
That's a really good answer. So the next question is for Jacob. Jesus said, "The greatest among you will be your servant." How does that flip the social media definition of success?
Again, it goes back to the same theme. Social media shows success with the vacations they take, the clothes they wear, the friends they have, the things they buy. So social media is saying, you should stream, you should seek the material. And you should show that off. I mean, that's exactly what the world's saying. You're the star. No one will stop you. Keep going. You can do it. And that's the prize. That's the goal of life. Get everything you want. You want a yacht? Work for it. It's like that. Like all of a sudden, that's the purpose of life, to get a yacht. I'm just making things up. But the point is, Christ said, "The greatest among you will be your servant." Biblically, it is not about showing off what you have. It is not about the things you have. It's not about where you went on vacation. Of course you can go on vacation, but the goal isn't to just blast it on social media to show that you've went on this awesome vacation in Greece or whatever the case may be. The goal is to serve, right? That is the will of God. He says He predestined you for good works. He predestined you before the foundation of the world. Like, we were designed to serve. So I implore each one of you to find your mission, to find your purpose in the body of Christ. Who here is baptized by water? Who here took water baptism? That is amazing. You guys realize that you are now officially part of the body of Christ. Now, who here, and this don't raise your hands, who here has a conviction deep inside that they are actually fulfilling their purpose in the body of Christ? Think about that. Am I sure I'm doing what I'm called to do in the body of Christ? That means, am I serving, am I being a blessing to others exactly where God wants me to be? And if you're saying, well, I don't know where I should serve or what I should do, right? My advice, seek where you can serve, and I know God will put peace in your heart. For example, if you've never been in choir, try choir. If you've never done evangelism, try evangelism. Prepare for that, right? It doesn't mean you just wing it. It means you prepare yourself. If you've never done, help out in the kitchen, try that. You may be surprised. You actually may have, you may actually really enjoy it. Or ushering, whatever the case is. There's many, many ministries within the church. Working with kids, being a teacher, working with the youth. All of that is incredibly important. That's being a servant. You are what's the word I'm looking for? You are giving up your time. You're sacrificing, that's the word. You're sacrificing your time in order to serve others. So that's what love is, by the way. Love is the desire for the well-being of others without receiving anything for yourself. You don't do this because you're going to get something in return. That's what Christ is saying. Be a servant for others. And the way He blesses you is spiritual blessings. You will receive that beautiful connection with God. You will receive that fulfillment, that peace that Vlad was talking about, right? That's the way I see. That's how we flip the script on what social media is saying.
That's a really good answer. I see some people at the doors. You're standing anyway. You guys there's a lot of space over here. It's like all up in here. If you want, you can come in. So the next question will be for Roman. You're successful, right? You're pretty young. You come from a family of people that are far more successful than you are. Can you be wealthy and humble?
Just humbling, that's all.
Can you be wealthy and humble at the same time?
Well, the humble part, you just
I'm
checked
helping.
that box for me.
I'm helping.
You reminded me where I stand. But yeah, I am very blessed to have brothers and siblings who are many, many levels ahead of me. I don't know why they're not sitting here today, but that's besides the point. Sorry, what was your question?
Can you be wealthy and humble?
Can you be wealthy and humble? Whenever I get wealthy, you can ask me that question. But yeah, I think you can be wealthy and humble. I can't give you personal experiences about how you can be wealthy and humble, but when you ask, can you be wealthy and humble, I'm assuming you're asking wealthy financially, but
yes.
Wealth can mean many different definitions. Wealth, success, успех, I mean, they're all synonyms for each other, and they're all pretty similar. I do know many, many wealthy people, and when you talk to them, you will never know that they're wealthy. And then I also know people on the other side who just have a little bit of money, and they're the complete opposite. So there are many people out there who are doing very, very well from my perspective, and they're very, very humble people, but you will never know that they're wealthy. You will never know that they have a lot of money. You will never know how much wealth or success or anything that they have going on in life, and that's the beauty of it.
I want to actually do a follow-up question too, because this is good. Out of curiosity, because maybe they want to know, the people you know who are very wealthy, but you would never know, what are the things that they're doing that allow them to stay humble? Would you know what the things that they're doing, or the way that they portray themselves, the way they carry themselves? Maybe share some of that if you have any.
When you see these people, so there's two people that come to mind. I'm not going to say their last names. I'll say their first names just to keep my head on track. One guy's name is Greg. One guy's name is Matt. Greg, when you see this guy, he's an old man, and there's absolutely nothing special about him. Well, I go to a lot of networking events, and everyone's dressed in suits, ties, very, very professionally. And he's the guy who's going to sit in the back wearing shorts, and you'll just never know that. And I almost gave away who he was. It's another level. Like, yeah, shorts is another level. It's a different level. And then the other guy, Matt, that I have in mind, he owns companies all across America. And I think what keeps him very humble, he's a deacon, and he serves a lot in the church. And when you talk to him, he always says, and there's many times I would ask him, I was like, Matt, how do you have so much success and have so much time in the church? And he always says, in my life, church comes first. I will never put work above church. Doesn't matter what happens. Church will always, always come first, and then everything else will come second. So him being in church, him being a deacon, him always being involved, has to be what keeps him humble. I never asked him that question, what keeps him humble. I think asking people, why are you so humble, can be taken negatively. But yeah, I think having your priorities set straight, and like what he said, finding peace. But finding peace is just another way of saying just to be content. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I know people who have a lot of money, and they think they do not have enough. They want more, and they want more, and they want more. And when you ask them 10 years ago when you were starting this company, what were your goals? They would say, I passed those goals 8 years ago. And now they have new goals, and those goals never change, and they never find room in their heart to be content. They have the Ferraris, they have the Lamborghinis, they have the real estate, they have the house, they have absolutely everything. They have the kids, the family, they're in church. But when you talk to them, they think they're not doing well. They say, man, it's just tough. I don't have enough. I don't know how we're going to get through this month. I just need just this one more goal, and then I'll be content. It's never enough. It never stops. So to be truly happy, to be truly wealthy or successful in your heart, you have to be content. I see some people here, and I know their personal financial history, and when you talk to these people, they're the most normal people you talk to. They drive the most normal cars, but they are way more wealthy than me or anybody you know combined, and they're happy, and they're content. And if you want to be happy and you want to be content, and I know saying this, like you guys are looking at me, oh, well, Roman, it's easy for you to say this because you made it. We don't have anything. I got $20 to my name, so it's easy for you to say that. And yeah, there's a little bit of truth to that as well. And whoever is hungry for success, you more than likely will be successful. But as you become successful and as you become wealthier and as you start filling your goals, remember those goals and remember to be content.
Okay, I'm going to ask Vladimir a question, and then I'm going to take 3 questions from the audience afterwards by raise of hands. So while he's answering his question, think, if you want to ask a question, think of a well-phrased one and raise your hand. Vladimir, this one is tough. Is minimalism, that is to say owning very little, more biblical than wealth management? That is to say, owning a lot, let's say even biblically owning a lot because you built it up slowly and wisely, but being a good steward of that wealth. So is it more biblical to not have much or to have a lot but take good care of it?
I think biblically, there is no right or wrong. There is no, hey, you need to live a minimalistic lifestyle for you to be holy, or, you need to be a good steward for you to, accomplish God's will or whatnot. I think biblical perspective is being content and being able to understand what time you live in. I mentioned earlier, I think we live right now in this country in a time of abundance. Paul, I believe he's the one who said, I've learned to live in abundance and in need. There's times that Paul references a house on the beach. He says, the time when I go Dom Namore, like there, I believe he went there and he vacationed or whatever. He had maybe wealthy friends or whatnot. And in those times of abundance, he was faithful to God. And then there came times where he says, I got beat, 39 times with a stick, and I went through shipwrecks, and I went through, so much. He said he was chased by foreigners. And through all that, he remained faithful. And I believe that was his season of minimalism. And I don't know what is waiting for us in the next 10 years or 20 years. I know that today, if we are blessed to have something, we need to be good stewards of it. But if tomorrow a time comes where things turn completely different. I remember my parents shared stories from the Soviet Union. They were never wealthy, but they had some money. And then when the whole currency changed, their money just became toilet paper. Minimalism. Now it's a different era. Now you have to survive. And I think for us as believers, we need to learn to live in this time of abundance, to be good stewards. But when the time changes, we can't put our reliance on our wealth. It can disappear tomorrow, and we need to be okay with that. And we need to be able to survive.
Awesome. Okay, who in the audience has a question? Raise your hands. Right up front. Who do you want to ask?
Or the panel. Just ask the panel.
You can ask the panel, or you can ask a specific person.
So I would say, I'm ready to dip my feet in the water to start investing. I just don't really know how to start. I guess just because, the fluctuancy of, highs and lows. So I don't know, what do you guys, recommend? I just don't know how to start, I guess.
That's a good question. Also, somebody yelled out and said, get married. I don't think that's the solution. Everybody should be thinking about this. You'll think about it with your spouse. So how do you start investing?
I'll just give short answer. Start a Roth IRA. If you are making money, if you have an employer, let's say you work for a company that offers a 401k plan, 403b, whatever, start contributing in there.
Max it out.
Yeah, and max it out if you can. If you are your own entrepreneur or you have your own thing you're doing, your company doesn't offer, start like a Roth IRA or something. It's something that you can take money out from even before you retire. You can draw the principal.
Who knows what a Roth IRA is? Who doesn't know what a Roth IRA is?
It's about half.
Can you explain, please?
Okay, guys, so there's 2 different types of tax incentives that the IRS provides for contributions. One is where you put money into a traditional IRA. It's for retirement, individual retirement account. And you get to subtract your contribution from your income.
Meaning it's not taxed.
It's not taxed. The other option is a Roth IRA. It's after tax. So you put in, let's say you made $10,000, you put $5,000 into a Roth IRA. You paid taxes on the entire $10,000 you earned, but that $5,000 then grows tax-free. And the beauty of it is you can withdraw before 59 and a half the principal without any taxes.
Yeah, the key thing here is why he recommended a Roth IRA. It is worth now paying the taxes today at the current tax bracket that you're paying. Yeah. Say it's 23% or whatever the tax bracket is. You pay it today and you will never pay taxes on those money again. Meaning when you're ready to retire, that's already tax-free. You've already paid it in the initially.
Let me explain this in very simple terms because these two guys are very, very professional. And when I was 20 years old and someone told me to get a Roth IRA, I said, this is a scam, get away from me. Here's why Roth IRAs are so great, and I waited till way too late to start it. If you make over, is it $180,000 if you're single? How much money is it? If you make over, let's say $180,000, give or take, you cannot use the Roth IRA. It is made for the person who makes less than $180,000. Why? Because the people who make over $180,000, they're good. So it's made for the person who is, I guess, lower income. $180,000 is lower income, to be able to have some wealth. Here's the beauty of it. All the money you put in there keeps growing every single year. And he mentioned the principal you can pull out. Who knows what principal means? So let's say you put in $1,000 in there, and next year it's worth $1,200. You can go and pull out $1,000, and that $200 that's left keeps growing and growing and growing. And when you turn 60, and I mean, whatever the math is, let's say you invest $500 every month for 20 years or whatever. When you turn 60 years old and it's worth $2 or $3 million, you don't pay taxes on that $2 or $3 million. You just take it out for free. So you can look. The way I look at a Roth IRA is you put in your own money in there, whatever it grows. Let's say you put in $1,000, it grows to $2,000. You pull out your $1,000 back, the $1,000 left in there keeps growing. You lost nothing. It is not a scam. It is a very, very, very great tool.
That's a good question.
One more thing about that. Just because you opened up a Roth IRA, it doesn't mean it automatically starts investing. So it's very important. A Roth IRA is an investment account, so to say, right? You still have to do the homework to decide what funds am I going to put my money into to let it grow.
Do you want to buy Tesla stock? Do you want to buy S&P? Whatever you're doing.
Just do index fund.
Yeah. So to finish the question, open up a Roth IRA. It's tax advantage account. What should you invest in? You'll never go wrong with an index fund. Contribute regularly. You'll average in.
Contribute regularly is a key one.
Don't think about the highs and the lows.
That's
you
right.
put that money in. Hopefully, you literally don't think about it till you're 60. That's wise. Don't have your heart attached to it. Just put it away. Leave it to the Lord.
Next guys, question. I want to say, while we're all still in this room, this is going to end pretty quickly. If you guys want to ask me any questions, I'm happy to hop on a phone call to answer any of these questions that we have today, even if it's after. Find me on Instagram, dude, it's Roman.
Okay, raise of hands. Who wants to ask another awesome question like that?
This is a question for Roman. You said being content. How do you differentiate between, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, right? And you know that you can go to the next step. You can do the next step that's going to bring you to the next level. How do you differentiate that ambition between the being content? What is content?
That's awesome question. I know exactly where you're at, and this is what the conversation I have with my wife often. It's like, I want to be content. I'm doing great, but I want to do more. And is that me being greedy now? So awesome question. Being content for me is always remembering to count my blessings and know where I came from. The money that we have is not our money, it's God's money.
Amen.
And God has a plan for us on how we're going to use that money and how much He trusts us with His money. So if you have ambition and you can do more, you should do more. But that doesn't mean that you're not being content anymore. You're ambitious. God made you ambitious. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep doing as much as you can. But don't forget your blessings. There was a picture I saw one time. It was a guy in an old Kia sitting at a red light. And his window's all beat up and everything, and it's all broken. And he's sitting there, and across from him is a brand new G-Wagon. And he's taking a video. And in that video, he's kind of like, man, must be life. Life is so cool. And then as he's taking the video, a guy in a bicycle pulls up right next to him, delivering pizza with the son in the back seat of the bicycle. And he's like, whoa, what a difference. It really opened up his eyes. Man, I have it really, really good. But it goes even further than that. The guy in the bicycle has a son. The guy in the G-Wagon could be sitting, looking at the guy in the bicycle and thinking, man, that guy has a son? It's a full circle. It doesn't matter where you are in life, there's always something to be thankful for. That guy in the G-Wagon could think that his life sucks because he doesn't have a son. The guy in the bike could think he has the best life ever. It doesn't matter, I don't have a car, I don't have anything. God gave me a son.
I'm not Roman, but can I add to that? What I think content is time. I do believe that, let's say your goal is to, grow your business or whatever to this amount, and you're going to get there. And then you have to make a decision. Do I want to put more and more time into it because it might require of you? Or am I content with putting in, let's say, this amount of time per week and be content with what results it provides? Because, you can always try to, stretch yourself thin, give up ministry there. Well, I don't have time for choir anymore. I don't have time for that because I'm ambitious. You can be ambitious, and I believe your ambitions should grow, but keep it within the time that you've allotted for that venture. And if you start to give up, church ministries because your ambitions are growing, I think that's where you're no longer content.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. Yeah, just stay faithful with what God trusted you to do within the body of Christ. That was actually the only thing I was going to add, and he effectively said that.
Guys, we're 2 for 2. Those are very good questions. Who has a third awesome question? Hands.
Sam, are we only doing 3 questions?
We'll go back, ask another one. I'll go back.
What time do we have till? 4:15. Okay, we got time.
Okay, a question for someone who is in banking. Is it more reliable to approach a broker to invest or to walk into your local bank yourself and say, hey, can I open like a money market with you? Personal bank versus a personal broker for someone that's like young trying to invest, but not like by myself, like I can go on my phone, buy some stock, whatever, but is it more reliable to go to a broker or to go like who works in Charlotte at the bank or to go to your local bank, like your Fifth Thirds or your First Citizens and say, hey, I want to invest with you guys?
I mean, we're going to give 2 different answers. He works in the bank, so he'll say, go to Truist, walk in a branch and open a money market. We're a broker-dealer, so I'll say go to a broker-dealer.
And I'm going to tell you, don't do either of those.
No. It depends. It depends on the purpose of what you're trying to do. A money market, right? It's your cash sitting in an account that provides a yield. Like the bank pays you a yield, 4%, so to say, right?
What does yield mean?
It's just the return. It's your return on that money. The bank uses the money to give loans, right? The point is, you can, if your goal is to have to have just cash available at any time, but since I have extra cash and I just want it to at least grow a little, money market may be fine, and that's your local bank. Let's say you bank with Bank of America. Totally fine. If your goal is like, well, no, I'm ready to start investing for my retirement, assuming your job doesn't offer a 401k or anything like that, I would actually recommend you opening up a Roth IRA. And if that's maxed out already, yeah, definitely look into a financial advisor, assuming you do not feel comfortable investing yourself.
Yeah, let me add just one thought. You mentioned if you don't do it yourself. Personally, I'll tell you the truth. If you go to a financial advisor or a broker and you're trying to start brand new, nobody has a ton of desire to work with you because that's really not what runs the business. Start on a Robinhood or an E-Trade and just start putting money into index fund. And then when there is something there to where somebody, either you're going to learn how to do it or there's going to be something there where a broker will be able to take that and say, okay, I can make the stock basket portfolio for you or whatever and manage it, give you tips. I'm just thinking, you sitting in your seat, if you go walk into a Merrill Lynch, just nobody's going to take you seriously, most likely, if you're trying to start brand new. That's just the sad world we live in.
Guys, a great book to read is called Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. It's not really a Christian book, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for this. But Money Master the Game, read the first 25% of the book, and it will answer a lot of the questions on how to get started in investing. It also speaks a lot against brokers.
Don't read the book.
So I'm going to ask 2 more questions for everybody. No, I'll go back and forth, let people think about it. I'm going to ask 2 more questions, then I will come back to all of you. So if you have more thoughts, we still got about half an hour. Keep thinking about them. So this is for all of you. Let's call it debate style. Debt or no debt?
Ooh, that's a good one.
All the debt. All the debt. As much debt as you can get that debt. Just not auto loan debt, not motorcycle debt, but as much debt as you can get. I've started setting my goals of how much debt I want in X amount of years. It's not even a financial goal, it's a debt goal. Like I want $5 million or $10 or $20 million of debt by X amount of years. This is going to be against everything they say to you guys.
This is definitely a controversial topic. I'm just going to start there.
All the debt, guys. All the
guys, he works in real estate. He's an exception. Keep answering, please.
So I think the correct answer is there's good debt and bad debt.
Boom.
If whatever you buy is an appreciating asset, I believe that's good debt as long as that debt servicing payment is within your means.
And the asset grows faster than the yield on the debt.
Yes, because if you buy an appreciating asset, but you can't afford to make the payments tomorrow, and the bank ends up taking it away, well, you lose everything. But if you buy a, beater home or a piece of land, or even if you're investing into your business and you borrow money to do it, but you are having a positive return on that debt, I think that's a good thing. I am against Dave Ramsey's absolutely no debt, because if I would have listened to Dave Ramsey, there's a lot of stuff I would not have done, because no debt, therefore no capital, therefore no business investment, therefore no growth. So I think of it in terms of good debt and bad debt. If you are borrowing money to go buy a car, a luxury car especially, that's a depreciating asset, bad idea. But if you are borrowing money to buy a truck so you could run your remodel construction business, and now you're making money with that truck, then that's not the worst thing.
Those are good answers.
And don't get debt to invest, like in stocks. Don't ever do that. Ever, ever, ever.
I have heard of people borrowing money from their house, taking out a mortgage to buy crypto.
Oh, my.
No.
Yeah, don't do that.
Even if somebody tells you this is going to make money 100%.
Guys, even though I love debt, I agree with them. Don't do that.
Yeah, let's make one thing clear. The vast majority of us, like myself, I just bought a house last year, it will require debt. So just think about that. Just come to that conclusion. Never carry a credit card balance. Don't think about Romans, I want all the debt I can get, because he's basically saying I want to buy as much real estate as possible.
Guys, if you have money and you don't know what to do with it, I'll borrow it from you.
Pay off your credit cards, okay? Romans advice does not apply to you if you carry a balance. Okay, the next question before I go back to the crowd is stocks or real estate?
Real estate.
And why?
I think I know, Vlad, you have your own thoughts. I think it's very healthy to do a little bit of both. Why? Stocks have their season, real estate have their season. Having a little bit of both, you diversify, and when maybe stocks are tumbling, your real estate is keeping your net worth, what the value, of everything you own, possibly more stable, and vice versa. If you just buy real estate, there's a risk that there's a real estate crash, and now your value of your real estate is less than the debt that's outstanding, the debt that's on that real estate. There's a danger there too. Or if you buy real estate in order to put in a renter in there, and the economy goes bad, your renter may not be able to pay, and now it's on you. So there's pros and cons. But having a mix, I think, is healthy. It's important.
Yeah, I think a lot of times our memory is very, very short. And we have been blessed over the past 15 years to grow in an economy where house market appreciating. I remember, and I still have clients that, bought in 2007, 2006, and they barely came out of, they were underwater for a long, long time. So there's risk in any asset class. Diversification is a principle that everyone agrees on. Real estate guys, stock guys, everyone agrees on diversification. So stocks are a little more liquid. If I have a stock portfolio tomorrow, I can sell a portion of it, I can sell some of it, I can sell all of it, I can raise funds to do whatever I need to do. Real estate is a little less liquid. That doesn't mean it's any worse. That doesn't mean that it could be a better performing asset, but there has less liquidity, and you need to weigh all that. If your goal is liquidity, stocks might be a better
Explain what
idea.
Liquidity is. They may not know. What is liquidity?
Liquidity is how fast you can get the money.
How
if
fast
an
you can
asset
sell.
is not liquid, it's something that takes you months or a year to pull the cash out. If it's liquid, cash is the most liquid thing. It takes me about 2 seconds to get it out of my pocket. Money market's a little less liquid. It takes a few days to go to the bank and get it. Stocks, a little less liquid. It takes maybe a week to get the money. Real estate is even less liquid. So keep that in mind. Both are good assets, but you need to understand what your goal is for those assets.
Boom.
Awesome. Does anybody else in the crowd have questions? Right up front.
And there's also Matthew as well.
I'll go to Matt next. Okay.
So you guys mentioned real estate and stocks, and those things have been around for a pretty long time. And crypto is in its baby stages right now. What are your thoughts on crypto?
Awesome question.
I have
Who wants
thoughts
to
on
get
that.
rich really quick, guys?
No. Here, crypto. When you think of traditionally what an investment is like, why are stocks, for example, could be good investments? Because there are companies that have workers that are trying to produce a product or a service, right? So you're investing in that. Versus crypto, there isn't an actual company. What you're investing in or what you're betting on is speculation. Where the market believes the price of that crypto should be. So there's nothing it's really, for the majority of them, there's nothing it's really producing. Not a lot of services it's actually providing. So it's from an investment perspective, it's dangerous, but it doesn't mean that if you invested in crypto, you're going to go bankrupt. Obviously, people who invested in crypto have become multimillionaires. If I knew what happened with Bitcoin, I wish I put money in a Bitcoin, right? But knowing what I know, it's not considered a good investment from that perspective, because it's just speculation.
It's
That's
not
what
a
it is.
safe investment.
It's not a safe investment. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Can I add? So when you think about any investment, there's something called intrinsic value. What is behind the asset and how much is it actually worth? When you take real estate, okay, I know that land is worth so much money, the improvements on that property is worth X amount of money. If you look at a stock, by the way, a stock is a partial ownership of the company. If tomorrow I liquidated the whole company, there's going to be money there. When I pay all the debts off, whatever. When you look at crypto, I'm not saying you can't make money off of it appreciating, but there's no intrinsic value. There's no copyright. It's open. There's 1,000 Bitcoins that can be created, meaning like Bitcoin type of crypto or meme coins or whatever. So as long as the party is going, crypto's great. The moment that the music stops, it might not be so great. And I don't know when the music's going to stop.
Awesome. So we have a second person that I'm going to give the next question to, but keep thinking about it. I want a third question afterward.
This question's for whoever, but how do you stay faithful and like grounded in God as your foundation in like slower seasons of income?
And so what was the last one?
How do you stay grounded in slower seasons of income and keep God as your foundation?
Yeah, like staying relied on God and having Him as your foundation, like not relying on your own strength.
Who's asking you?
I can start, and then maybe someone can add something. So if you remember, the first thing I said is kind of living within your means, or maybe even be below your means. Mm-hmm. There will be fluctuations. Like I said, we have very short memory, but I remember and I know stories of very successful builders, but in 2008, 2009, some of them some of them committed suicide, somebody was trying to commit suicide because a different time came. Most likely what happens is a lot of people, when they start making more money, they start living off of more money. Mm-hmm. And then a season of low sales comes, something happens, the economy gets shaky, and all of a sudden, you're used to a $300,000 lifestyle, and now you have to live on $100,000 lifestyle, and you have debt piled up, you have payments coming due, and people, they get depressed, and they don't know what to do. So I think the principle of, okay, yes, right now I'm making a lot of money. That doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. I need to learn to live within this, and then if this keeps on going, maybe I'll increase my lifestyle little by little, but I don't need to
wanna add
max
that.
out my lifestyle just because I had a really good year. Because things will change. Like I said, it's a cycle. It's happened and it's going to happen again.
Give me a second. So I want to add to that. I honestly think it goes back to being very honest with yourself, going back to budgeting. I really do believe that. So if you're in a season, let's pretend you have a business of some kind, and it's not your year. It's not your year. There are certain things, you're like, how do I stay faithful, right? You're going to continue grinding in your business, but what you have to do is look at your expenses. Okay, what are my fixed, I cannot change? What are the variable? What do I allow myself, during the good years, what did I allow myself to do that I didn't really need? It was good. Could have been vacations, it could have been going out more often, it could have been whatever. So it brought your lifestyle up, your total cost of lifestyle up. To stay faithful, I believe, honestly, is to reduce, you gotta be honest with yourself. I can't afford this now. And we're just gonna have to eat more home-cooked meals, as an example, right? We gotta lower our expenses so I can get through this tough season and learn to be, as we talked about, content with that. Doesn't mean God's not blessing you. It doesn't mean God's mad at you. It doesn't mean that God's abandoned you. He's testing you. That's normal. That's okay. And you have to be faithful in that. Okay, I have this much control over this. I'm gonna work on that right now. There's certain aspects I can't control. But what I can control, I will, in order that I don't lose my faith, in order that I don't get upset at God. Because God does, again, very important. Just because you have a tough financial season, it doesn't mean God has abandoned you or left you or doesn't love you.
To stay faithful during times of low income starts before the time of low income gets to you. If you can't be faithful in times of high income and give everything back to God, kind of what I was saying, where I was saying that I was doing great because I was doing this and I was doing that. When the low income time came, it was really hard to be faithful. When I learned how to give everything back to God and say, I don't know why I'm doing great. I don't know why God keeps blessing me, but God keeps blessing me. That when the times of low income came, it wasn't hard to still stay faithful. It was in your head, it would just be, this is God's plan for me. Everything will be okay. There are no problems. We'll get through this patch as well. Just how God got me through the good patches, He'll get me through the rough patches.
Do we have one last audience question? Ooh, oh boy. Okay. Roman selected it. Sorry.
Maybe next time. Don't forget.
Also, guys, you can always walk up to them. They're just people, afterwards.
When should I quit something that I started and I think it will succeed, but it's not currently working out? This could be in trading or in business.
Whenever that something is doing more than whatever you're doing currently.
No, I think he's saying.
Like, are you saying, when should I make my side gig my full gig when my full gig is making less
When
money?
should I cut my
He's saying-
losses?
Yeah, he's saying I started something.
Oh, like the
I
sunk
believe it's
cost
going to
fallacy.
take me. It's going to make me possible wealth. But at the moment, I'm not seeing the results. At what point do I cut the cord?
Is this cryptocurrency, and are you getting diamond hands messages from other people? Stocks and business.
Hold. I'm just.
Stocks are in business.
Here's what I would say. When do you cut your losses? So a lot of people, when they're dealing with their business or financials, especially young people, they don't ask for advice. You feel like, okay, well, I'm failing or something. I can't share this with other people. What are they going to think? Big mistake. If you want to do something, and the smartest people I know, they're not smart because they're inherently smart. They're smart because they're always bugging other people and asking them for advice. How do you do this? What do you do there? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? They're not afraid of criticism. And if I was in your shoes and let's say something's not working out, I would find people that are either been there or have done that or maybe just have general business knowledge. I would come up to them and bug them. Say, what am I doing wrong? Can you look at this? Where am I going wrong? Should I keep going? And maybe they'll tell you, hey, you're going in the wrong direction. Stop, try this. Maybe they'll tell you, hey, this is just the season right now in this particular market. Keep going. I don't know the particulars of it, but I'm sure if you asked enough people for advice, you would get a pretty good answer.
There's this thing amongst our Slavic community where whenever we get into business, we for some reason want to do business outside of the Slavic community, and we make up reasons for it. but we're inherently making our lives much, much harder. We have this thing where I want to be successful outside of the Slavic community, but the smart businessmen rely on all the people they know and everybody who's close to them. Your sphere and everybody who's around you is where your business will start. I don't know why people have this thing where they want to start outside of the Slavic business. Second, kind of to answer your question, you can start a business when you're 50 years old and still be successful. It doesn't have to be now. A lot of you are still living with your parents. You have almost zero to lose. Risk it all, guys. Risk everything, because your worst case scenario is a homeless man's dream. Like, you can put everything into something, you spend 5 years on it, you still lose everything, you're still only 25 years old, you still have a roof over your head, you got no wife, no children, you have very, very low risk right now. Your worst case scenario is somebody's dream. You guys have that option. Once you get married, once you have kids, that option is gone. It's much harder to take a risk, it's much harder to quit your job, it's much harder to start a business. And if your first business fails, if your second or third business fails, you still have so much time and you'll learn so much from those first businesses failing. I heard a quote once, I think it was from one of the guys on Shark Tank. He said, strive until you fail. Like, he said strive for failure. Push yourself so hard that you think you'll fail, because along the way you learn so much.
So it looks like our time is wrapping up. I'll have one last question that I think is awesome, which is, how much generosity is enough? 10%? More? Does tithing have to hurt? How much generosity is enough?
It's not your money, it's God's money. Give it back. It doesn't matter. Give it back. Whatever. I think it says, if you keep reading it, it says whatever's on your heart. I think that's what it says in the Bible verse. I personally like to give until it hurts a little. It's like if it didn't really hurt, whatever, I'm not giving. Now it's like, oh, maybe I should take it back. That's where I know where my limit is.
Yeah, it really depends. I think there's a minimum, and this is my understanding. You don't have to listen to this. Tithing is 10%. That goes to the church. On top of that, widows, orphans, people that you just don't need help, missionaries, good deeds on top of that. If you are able to do more, the sky's the limit.
Amen.
Pre or post-tax?
I believe tithing should be pre-tax.
Pre or post expenses.
Thank you for an awesome breakout session. If you have questions, go back and ask them afterwards. Chase them down.
Guys, again, I'm happy to talk to anybody. Feel free to come up to me or reach out to me on Instagram. Dude, it's Roman.